Oh, pre-show, yeah. So people think they're like getting a secret peek.
This is where all the secret stuff is.
People like that.
Not on
they
mix
like
right
to
now.
Think that they're getting an.
Well, yeah, go ahead. You know what? Go ahead and start recording. Put it on mix too. You know, when you tune in early, you deserve something. You know, you win because you were trying. You weren't even thinking about it.
Oh, I'm not ready yet. I need to put the static on my TV. I turn off all the lights and then I tune my TV.
Well, now that I live in the future,
static.
I have to use the lights so people can see me. You get to hide in the shadows. You get to lurk. We don't get to see what you're doing during the show, which for some people is mildly concerning. How do you feel like that? How do you justify that? Continuing to dwell in the shadows. How do you justify that?
Well, I wouldn't characterize what I do as dwelling. That's, you know, you're kind of painting people like me with a broad brush. Yes, there are some dwellers amongst us. And, you know, I'm not proud of that, and I stand with you against the dwellers. But I'm more of an occupier.
You know, if you paint everybody with a broad brush, it helps make sure that everybody gets the same amount and is equal. Painting people with a broad brush is a service to them.
Yeah,
it's a kindness.
Everybody thinks that's fair, except for the broad that you use as the brush. Oh, I can't find my.
You ever paint a barn? You ever whitewash a fence? You don't use a little brush. You don't use a narrow brush to whitewash. You use a broad brush. So everybody's white. Or at least where it counts.
I'm not going to say anything until the show starts. I'm not getting paid for this. This is like overtime, except for it's undertime because the show hasn't started yet.
All right, well, just don't say anything until the show begins, and you can justify that.
I'm not going to say anything.
You're not encouraged to do anything here. I mean, nobody's making you talk.
I'm not going to do or say anything. I'm not going to say a fucking word.
I think that works out.
Nothing that you can do to make me say anything.
I'm getting ready to do an hour of comedy ha-ha chuckle-thon, and for some reason, you know, everybody feels like they need to chime in. Everybody wants to be a part of the show.
I'm just trying to figure out how to turn the static on my TV. I like to do the show with just static.
Well, what kind of static are you getting?
It's digital motherfucking TV, so like...
How do you get static on a digital TV?
You know, it used to be the easiest thing in the world would be to get static on a TV, and now I have to like configure the TV to tune into what it's actively fighting me. It's like, no, there's no content here. It's just static. And I'm like, no, you listen to me. You are the robot. I am your master. Give me static.
One time I turned on the TV and I got scared. So I don't turn on the TV anymore. So I think the TV was turning me on a little bit.
I have to pick the source? Oh, wow, that sounds epic. Select your source. That's what it says to me right now.
Do the good one. Or are you going to go with, like, AV2?
No, I think I got to go with, like, air or something like that to get the static.
Or do you have Antennois?
No, dude.
You're living in, like, the digital Stone Age. It's like you sharpen all of your rocks with a knife.
Ooh, live TV. There we go. Yeah. All right, I'll turn it down. Let me turn it down. Oh yeah. Now let me turn off the lights. I just want to be illuminated. See, the static that you see on the screen, that's really God talking to you.
That's the only truly random thing in the universe is television static. You'll never see the same scan of static again. It's a
especially in these higher resolutions, it makes the probabilities are exponential.
I mean, the same image will come up. You will just never see it.
Speaking of Yule, I already heard a Christmas song on a podcast commercial.
And you'll love what we have tonight. Time for the show. Get ready to do the thing. It's got like 2-3 minutes.
I'm gonna kill myself live on the show tonight, so don't
Christmas comes early.
Push record. I think I'm also going to stand up for my rights. That seems like it'd be good radio. What if I stood up for my rights?
You got a pocket constitution on you? You can stand on that, get like half a centimeter higher.
I don't need a constitution in my pocket. I got one in my heart. Yeah.
God's constitution.
And one in my left nut just as a backup. In case the Chinese cut my heart out. Which they've been known to do. Yeah, tonight I'm gonna stand up for my rights. I'll wait for the show. Go until the show starts. This is your last chance to take advantage of my rights before I stand up for them. I'm going to do it on the show tonight.
Oh, it's a comedy show.
Not with that attitude.
Broadcasting live from Hypercube Central Core Sub-Basement 27 Studios, deep in the heart of the future capital of America's California, Orlando, Florida. This is Time for the Show, your weekly Subgenius radio banter-a-thon and Hypercube Acoustics over-the-air firmware update. I'm Dr. Fox, your host of Time for the Show, and you can join me and all of the other goofy doodad hoo-has, bunch of yahoos, by going over to timefortheshow.com, clicking the Discord button, and joining me in the Hypercom, just like America's favorite sweetheart. Here he is. It's this week's special guest, Phil Chewley.
Yeah.
That was pumping. I didn't mean for that to happen.
That was pretty good. I think you
should do that. We should do that every week.
Single point.
Should do that every week.
No, you don't want to do it every week because then people get tired of it.
It's
like,
not special
Dr.
anymore.
Fox, he's so consistently good. Like, it's so tiresome because he's just so good every week.
It's hard being me. That's a lot of weight on my tiny, malformed shoulders.
That's the biggest complaint that I hear about time for the show. It's like,
that one is?
They go, the show's okay, but the problem is Dr. Fox, he never changes it up. He's just hilarious every single week, and it's tiresome. It's like, okay, I get it, you're funny. Come on, come up with a new thing.
Well, you know what? I'll try something new tonight. I'm going to not be funny tonight.
All right,
a standing challenge to myself. I hereby forgo any chuckles or guffaws, any ha-has, hee-hees, or ho-hos, in or out of the holiday sense. From this moment on, I shall remain sincere and steadfast in my commitment to not derive any comedy from any situation for the next 58 minutes.
Okay, I've heard that before. You sound like you're really committed to it, but remember that scene from Roger Rabbit when Doc Brown knocked Shaven a haircut on the wall and Roger Rabbit couldn't resist going 2 bits? Remember that?
No, I don't watch those weird movies. Is it like a documentary?
Well, here's your chance to. Am I feeding back? I'm feeding back. Am I hearing myself?
That's the.
Well, as long as they're not hearing it on the screen.
It's just the good old Hypercom echo chamber.
All right, you promise not to be funny, right?
Yeah.
All right, can I test you?
Sure.
Okay. What's the difference between a bologna sandwich and my wife?
What is the difference between
now? Don't fight it.
And Fid Chuli's wife,
Mrs. Chuli, if you don't mind.
Mrs. Chuli. What is the difference between Mrs. Chuli and a bologna sandwich? All right, let me just kind of feel this out in my gut a little bit. You're not testing me by you're not going to tell me the punchline. I have to resist making a punchline.
You already passed the test. That was terrible radio
funny.
And completely unfunny. So done.
Oh, great. Well, then I'm sticking to it. I got my guns. I might as well just glue them to my hips. When it comes to comedy sharpshooting, I'm a dead eye.
So, since Peeves is sick, does that mean I have to apologize at the end of the show?
Well, I mean, usually in your capacity, you were always the what did we call it? The peas in charge. Your peas in a picture. You're supposed to fill in for peas, and so I'm never really. I don't feel like I'm mixing it up too much because I'm not that funny. Peas is the funny one. I just provide slightly witty banter back towards Peas. He's the whole show. I've got nothing.
So apparently Peas is sick, and that's why I'm here to be Fox's scapegoat as to why the show wasn't good, since Peas is the funny one.
You don't have to apologize now. You can save that for the end of the show.
Oh, sorry, dude. It's been a while. I forgot.
Yeah, I know. It takes a little bit of catching back into it. So I guess that means I have to reintroduce the concept. There's this concept now, so let's move on to my favorite part of the show. It's Cube News, all the news that's fit to Cube. And this week's Cube News is pretty much a recap because I think I've earned a break from, even trying to be funny. Like, I've earned this because I went up and I did my stand-up last week, and I got my 5 minutes in at the local comedy boulangerie, and it was a unique experience. You know, I have, you know, a couple takeaways from it, but Fid Julie told me that if I did not go and perform on stage, that he would not unlock my chastity cage. And so it's been a while. We've talked for a little bit before the show about how important it is to masturbate, and that if you don't masturbate, that when you go to sleep at night, it's gonna feel like you're in the Titanic going down, but in Jell-O. And while it doesn't sound like an incredibly horrible experience, my dry cleaning is rising up. So I really do need to try and do these open mics, but it was a bizarre world, and I didn't really know what to expect going in. But I'm happy to report that I at least got my 5 minutes in, as we discussed on last week's show that I was getting ready to do. And that, I guess you can thank Fid Chuli for that. That and Mr. Chang down on 42nd Street Dry Cleaning, who won't return my calls.
Don't thank me yet. Wait till you show up to one and fucking bomb, and then you're gonna put a bounty out on my head for making you do it.
Well, I mean, I'm holding you responsible now. So when the inevitable downfall comes, and and the shame and disgrace falls upon me and my family name for generations to come, I'll know that I could have just been happy enough with what I had, but I had to listen to Fid Chuli. This is torture. Comedy is murder, and I am a victim.
So wait, is this the headline? You went into Cube News. And
yeah, that was the Cube News. That's all we got. Nothing else of interest has happened over the past couple of weeks. There was that guy that went across state lines where he had no business being, and ends up firing a gun, wounding one person, killing another person, and they end up walking scot-free away from it. And
well, look,
Alec Baldwin had nowhere to be on a movie set that day, and Hollywood should be ashamed of themselves.
But Alec Baldwin's KD ratio is now 2.0, and that's pretty impressive.
He's killed 2 people?
Yeah, that cinematographer and the writer of Cat in the Hat. See, that wasn't a joke. That was truth. That was a true fact.
You better watch yourself. You said you wouldn't be funny in this show. Now you're
wasn't
dangerously
funny.
close.
That about towing the line.
I
wouldn't say that was funny. Is sarcasm funny?
You're pushing it.
Is sarcasm funny?
You better check yourself before.
I don't think sarcasm is funny.
No, it's not funny. It's hate speech. Because I hate it when you're funny.
So you like me when I'm not funny?
That was the news headline.
That's it. Yeah. Why? You ready for the next part of the show?
You wait. Yeah.
All right. And it's my favorite part of the show. And that's all we got. That's all we got this week. You know, I was just gonna go off on Peas and what I imagine is his gangrenous Jeep infection. He was posted.
So did Peas? Did he give you any details onto the nature of his medical condition, which prohibited from doing a show that he could do from his headphones in his bed? in the hospital. They have free Wi-Fi in hospitals. There's no excuse for not getting onto Free Think Radio and doing the show.
He says, me and Carrots, so already off to a good start, are very sick, and I got a bad infection on my elbow. I had to go to the hospital. I might not be able to do show.
All right. Note to self, apologize for getting a boo-boo. Got it.
It's probably just a little sun rash from hanging his elbows outside of a doorless vehicle.
You know what? He was probably injured defending his rights. That's what we should all be doing right now, is defending our rights. Because if we don't defend our rights, nobody's going to defend our rights. Okay? You don't understand. Like, if somebody gets rid of somebody else's rights, it's your rights, and you gotta stand up for them, or else you're like when they.
And all rights are good, right?
It's just no more! No more! Enough is enough!
Will you stand up for privileges?
Enough is enough! It's like this has to be it, because everything's online, including my rights, and if my rights are your rights, and our collective rights, and the people, and then it's too much, then it's enough, and it's enough, and it's too much, and it's gone too far, and we can't take it anymore. We have to have our rights. What about our rights? Who's talking about our rights, Dr. Fox? I mean,
nobody really.
It's so
It doesn't
easy
seem to be a big concern. I think people want to take our rights away.
I'll have my rights tomorrow. You know, I have my rights today. I wasn't gonna wake up in bed. When I go to sleep snuggling all my rights, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna give all my rights a kiss on the forehead.
Our rights? They don't want to just change ours. They want to change and take away yours. Specifically. The ones that you take for granted. Your rights. What are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna play for your rights? Are you gonna suffer for your rights? Are you gonna eat for your rights? Are you gonna party for your rights?
A PSA.
Are you gonna vote for your rights?
Hi, we are Fid Chuli and Dr. Fox. You may know us from such hilarious comedy, radio, internet shows as Time for the Show on Free Think Radio. And you may know us as a couple of guys who like to get some jokes off and revel in the ha-has. But there's one thing that's not funny, and that's infringing on my particular rights. And I say mine, that's Fid Chuli. My rights are more important than your rights. And if you've forgotten about that fact, well, just wait until Fid Crow comes into effect. That being said, I am running for Supreme Dictator of the World, and I would appreciate your vote.
I'm running from it. I'm not interested in any more authority or power or influence.
Well, that's why you're my perfect opponent, because I am running for Supreme Dictator of the World, and you, as the only other choice, are running from.
And I've got to say, based out of the election, I kind of agree with everything on your platform. So all I can really do is just hold disdain for myself and encourage people not to vote for me.
Number one, on my platform, enough is enough. That's my number one
Dr.
issue
Fox.
on my platform.
I'm not running for Supreme Dictator of the Universe. please understand that I am not interested in any position of authority granted upon me by you. Please stay away from me and do not vote for Dr. Fox.
Well,
I'm
if you
Dr.
get
Fox, and I approve this message.
I get to have a counter campaign ad if you get to have a campaign ad because my rights matter to me.
Well, seems all in fair. What do you propose?
Hi.
Who's gonna run your advertising campaign?
I'm Fid Chuli, your future supreme dictator for life of the universe. Dr. Fox says he's running away from the position. Don't let him. You follow his eyes, you watch him running away. That means you're taking your eyes off of my rights. As soon as you do that, you will be excommunicated to a garbage disposal in the worst part of India. Because the garbage disposals
any
there,
part of India.
they're pretty dull and they don't
You
run
mean a
that
river
fast.
in India?
It's gonna take a while. Well, no, I meant the.
Sorry, I said I wasn't gonna try and be funny. That wasn't funny. That was a harsh reality that I was just reaffirming. That you call garbage disposals in India a river. That wasn't a joke.
Dr. Fox says every vote for me is a vote for Fid Chuli. Is that who you really want in office? A guy who's gonna give all his votes away to his opponent? That's why you should vote for me, Fid Chuli. Because once I'm supreme dictator, I'm gonna have access to the voter logs. And if it turns out you didn't vote for me, you're gonna be in a world of buttfuck. I'm Fid Chuli and I approve this message.
I just can't wait for the mailer postcards. That's gonna be great. Are you gonna do a door-to-door petition?
Yeah, we're just going to send a bunch of canvassers out with metal chains, and they're just going to start slamming them against the front doors of everybody and yelling, "Hey, asshole!"
Get their attention.
As soon as they poke their head out the window next to the front entry and say, "Who are you? And what are you doing here?" The canvassers are just going to say, "Yeah, you're going to vote for Fid Chuli, right? We know that. That's why we're going to leave your house alone. That's why we're going to stop banging on your door. Because we know that you're going to vote for Fid Chuli for Supreme Dictator, right?"
I figured I'd just set up a door out in the middle of the street, let them come to me. It's much
Prop it
more
up with a
effective.
stick. Put a little bit of hashish
In the
under
keyhole?
it. Yeah. A Dr. Fox voter can smell a half a gram of hashish in a door keyhole a mile away. That's how we're gonna lure him in.
Apart the real Fox's friends. I forget what Pease came up with last week. Yeah, I've got nothing against truly Chulies. Everybody's a truly Chuli.
You mean the Argus agitators?
We'll go with that one. Agitators.
Agitators, yeah.
All right, so
Pease
no
likes
news
taters.
story. What, do you have
Fitz
a name for the
Fitz got
band?
a built-in bass.
What do you got? What's the next? I thought it was time for my favorite part of the show.
All right, let's get it. What you got?
Everybody, this is the part of the show that Dr. Fox did not prepare, and I'm gonna lean back while he takes all of the shame for not having prepared a segment here. Dr. Fox, how does it feel?
It's kind of
No!
freeing.
Oh my god, I dropped my bowl. It It shattered everywhere.
Oh no!
You got to hear that live on Time for the Show.
No, I think your noise suppression covered it up. Thanks. We'd like to thank Crisp Artificial Intelligence Noise Suppression, included with Discord, for filtering out the shattering of Fid Chuli's hashish pipe, which you could smell through the radio from a mile away. Was it your X-Day one?
Yeah.
Oh no!
It was the Howl one.
That was.
And you know what? I had this feeling this was going to happen. And it wasn't even the hitter part. I could at least like do a Rambo move where I slid my lips very carefully over the shards of glass. No, it was the hitter side that got destroyed. The pipe is no more. This is a somber moment.
That's why I got, like the Subgenius proof ones.
This is almost as bad as the time that he gave me the bowl in the first place, thinking that I was going to be able to take care of it.
Yeah, make sure you cherish this forever.
Yeah, old man. Give it ear.
Yeah, I've still got this one right here. Oh, fuck. I'm just joking. I still got that one. And now, a piece of Subgenius Yeti power, truly charged with the terror of the gods, lays broken upon Fid Chuli. I guess that's my new favorite part of the show.
The most terrifying part of it all is I'm going to have to spend $20 to get a new bowl.
Just grab a Stella bottle and a couple of cigarette butts. You can. I'm
gonna have to go to Amscott. Amscott could really facilitate the process if they just sold drugs right at the Amscott. We should explain, because in a lot of places they don't have these money stores that they do in Florida.
Yeah, so, you just go in and buy some.
Even where I grew up, they did have check cashing places, but Amscott is like the Walmart of predatory financial practices. They do cash advances. You can pay your child support there. You can pay your fucking probation officer through the Amscott. You can, everything. And I went there today. Yeah, I did, because, I was a dickhead last week, but they offered decent rates. I mean, whatever.
300,
but the point
400%.
They have these money stores. You can get a payday advance. Give them your ID. They validate your fucking shit. They give you a couple hundy. Okay, and I don't remember why I started talking about Amscott.
You're really selling it, though. I'm hoping to get a sponsorship out of this.
Actually, wouldn't that be great if Amscott sponsored Time for the Show?
Next time you find yourself in the need of a predatory cash advance scheme, make sure that you tell them Time for the Show sent you. That's very important.
Well, I did notice that if you rearrange the letters in Amscott, you get the phrase "to scam."
But it's free money.
But the thing is, it's free money as long as you don't pay it back. Then it's all yours. But they could really just facilitate the process if they just sold drugs at the Amscott where the people went to get cash.
Now,
they didn't have.
This is something you can't really do today because of advanced technology, so you shouldn't try it. And I'm only relaying this for educational purposes, but a buddy of mine introduced me to a fascinating concept, and that's you go to the ATM after hours and you deposit a couple $100 worth of cash in the envelope, and then you just forget to put your cash in the envelope and put it in the ATM, and sometimes that money would appear in your bank account, maybe in a few hours, sometimes in the morning. But you could find yourself with an extra $300, $400, or $500 in your bank account, and the bank, they call you up and they're like, "Hey, we noticed that you made a deposit last night, but you didn't put any cash in." And you say, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. I guess I was just confused at the drive-thru. I'll come in and I'll take care of that." And you got a little bit of time to round your cash up, and you go and you give them, my bad. And you could do that 2 or 3 times a year. And if you did it at the right amount of money, like $100 or $200, and they tell you, "Hey, your cash wasn't in the envelope," you tell them, "Well, I fucking put it in there." And they usually just never call you back about it. But you can't do that today, so don't try doing that.
Found a better life hack, which is just tell somebody you promise them you'll give it back, and they'll usually give you the money. If you promise, that's like the cutting their Achilles tendon.
They've got
at first they're like, "I am not giving you this money," and then you're like, "Oh yeah? I bet you will after I promise you to pay you back, bitch." And they're like, "Phew. All right, you got me there. You promised me. I mean, how can I not give it to you now? Like, you literally just promised me." And you're like, "Yeah, damn fucking straight I did, bitch. Give me that money that I promised that I was going to pay you back, bitch." And they shell it out, man. They shell it out. It works every single time. Just a little hot stock tip out there for the kids.
Whose word isn't golden? It's worth its weight in gold.
God made us all in his own image.
Are you saying God looks like a dishonest thief?
Well, I'm just saying.
You heretic. Don't blaspheme, kids. And don't cuss. Cussing's bad. You shouldn't say nasty words like pee-pee or tinkle or true hoo-hoo. Those aren't nice words. Those are cusses. You don't cuss, do you, Fid?
I only on New Year's. Only on New Year's, like when the ball drops. That's when I give a cuss, a light one, just because it's fun. And I'm an adult, and so I'm entitled to like one.
You're indulging in it. You're savoring it.
I'm an adult. Like I do it in moderation.
You enjoy it responsibly.
Only on New Year's when the ball drops, and I say the D word out loud, and that's fine because I'm an adult. I have a job. I pay my bills. I pay my taxes. Like, okay, so if on New Year's I say the D word, it's like, well, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No court in the land would convict me of that. I mean, maybe some local courts, but that's what makes it fun. It's because it's edgy, when it's like when you haven't cussed all year. And then the ball drops, and you're like, and then you just say the D word out loud, like, you just say it, like, and everybody can hear you say the D word. You say D word. It's the new year. It feels so good to say that after not having cussed all year. And I would argue that I enjoy cussing the one time that I do every year, just by saying the D word, than most people that say the F word every day. Like, they're not enjoying it because they're doing it all the time. It's like smoking a cigar every day versus smoking one or twice a year. You get to savor it. Like, your cuss tolerance is so low that when you just finally unleash that D word, come out of my ass like semen. A little bit of semen leaks out of my butthole when I do that, and I don't even know how that's physically possible, but that's how good it feels. Just a little bit. Like, it doesn't, like, get to my underpants. You know, it just, like, it gets in the crack, but, like, not enough to actually, like, make a dark stain.
It's the good payoff of a sea break, you know? Just hold off for a little while. Earn it. Gosh darn it.
Hey. Pushing it.
I know. But it's it gets me riled up in my nether region. I don't like a lot of things, and I happen to think that most people are things. Well, I don't think that they're things, but I consider them as things. And most of them are vile, repulsive, disgusting creatures. Swimming around in a petri dish of their own mundane stupidity. They are fun to watch, though. But they love to indulge. They overindulge. They're junkies. Normals are all junkies. And they've ruined it for us. It's hard to savor the sweetest crust of the nipple that life has given to us. Out of the entire universe, so far, we're the only ones that are killing ourselves. When somebody else comes down from the stars to start putting boots on your neck, you're gonna really wish that you had savored a little bit more of just the beauty that is the arrogance of humanity. Sit back for a moment. Stop cussing so much. You're killing yourself. You're robbing yourself of it. Every time you cuss could be like the first time you shoot heroin directly in to your corneal artery. You're taking that away from yourself. And that's pathetic. Savor it. Pinks love to cuss. You ever watch their TV? They're all the time saying words like darn and heck and butts. It's just the bottom of the barrel. Society just scraped up like some gum from underneath the table at a chicken wing stand. That's pink society. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for boots on necks. So I'm moving to Wisconsin. How about you, Fid?
You know, if they're gonna put their boots on our necks, then we just need to start putting our necks under their boots.
Beat them to
Before
it.
they can do it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want to put your boot on my neck? Well, I'm gonna put my neck under your boot before you can even put your boot on my neck. It's my rights. Yo.
Keep your rights under your own boots. Don't just stand up for your rights. Stand on them. Make a poignant message. You're a little bit taller when you stand on your rights. Keeps them close. You know, like when you're at the airport, you keep one leg around your rights. Someone's going to come by. They're going to rifle through your rights. They're going to start sifting through. Maybe think there's a couple you could do without. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I'm just going to take a few of these rights. But it's okay. I don't have any rights. Didn't you know that? I don't have any rights. So I'm just going to take a couple of yours.
Take a couple.
You won't mind. It's a victimless crime.
Victimless crime.
You wouldn't mind if I just take a few of your rights, would you? They look so lonely in there. It's not like you were using them.
I remember the first time I had my rights taken away. I was just a little boy. Grew up in an idyllic childhood. Just a white boy with a white mommy and a white daddy and a white sister who I didn't do it anyway.
Preach.
And then my whole growing up, the whole time, it was just me, my family, and my rights. And we went through every Christmas, there was my rights. Every birthday, there was my rights. When we went on family vacation, my rights came with me. And then one day, I woke up in the morning, and my rights weren't there. And I went looking around the house and said, where's my rights? And then my daddy came to me, he sat me down and he said, son, your rights, they're not here anymore. They went to go live on a farm with a lot of other little boys' rights. And they're happy, but they're not going to be coming back. And I said, bullshit, Daddy. I know that's just what you tell kids like me when you want them to know that their rights, they don't have their rights no more. You give them this story about how their rights went to go live on a farm somewhere, and it's bullshit, Daddy. I might be a little boy, but I love my rights, and I know better than that, Daddy. I know better than that. And then Daddy said, all right, I'll level with you, boy. Your rights have rabies, and they're tied up in the garage right now. We're gonna have to go put them down. So, I think it's only appropriate that you do it. So Daddy took me back out in the garage, and there was my rights. And you know, I could barely recognize my rights. They'd been so corrupted by the social rabies that had consumed them. Had been consumed. I could barely recognize them. I said, oh my, I just want to get one last moment with my rights before I kill them. And my daddy made me do it. My daddy made me give up my rights. And now, I've been fighting back for my rights. I want foreskin restoration surgery, first of all. Because I didn't think that was a necessary part of me giving up my rights. Just because I had to put them down doesn't mean my daddy had to cut my dick off.
Just the tip.
Afterwards.
I didn't know he was Jewish either.
Well, he's a big supporter of Israel.
They're nice guys.
They're the sweetest people.
That wasn't a
you'd
joke.
ever
They're
meet.
sincerely nice people. I'm not being funny tonight. Remember that. They're good people out there. They're just people claiming, you know, their indigenous lands.
I want to not be funny. Can I not be funny too? I've been doing a pretty good job of it so far, but I just wanted formal permission before I continued to not be funny, just so, you know, so I wouldn't be hurting anybody's feelings.
Well, I could grant you the right to not be funny. But then I'd be giving you one of my rights. And I don't think I'm willing to share my rights.
You know, that's the thing about rights that people don't get, is there's just not enough of them to go around. Okay? Everybody can't have rights. We have a limited pool of rights, and we got to be wise about how we dole them out.
It's like a physical
Okay?
high.
Yeah, and if you don't end up like with not that many rights, well, sorry, you just got a bad shake. You're just gonna have to deal with it, you know? I mean, that's fair, though. That's fair. Like, what we do, we put all the rights in a hopper. We put all the rights in, like, a piñata, okay? And then we get all of humanity to encircle the piñata and beat the shit out of it. Of course, you know, we'll put white people up front, so when they get the first crack. But, and then, like, when the rights come pouring out of the piñata, everybody just goes grasping, and then whatever rights they get, then those are their rights. Whatever they don't get, I mean...
And some people have too many. In fact, I think a lot of people have too many rights.
Well, they just have the right to have too many rights.
Did they? Well, I don't think they got that one out of the piñata. Because I got that right, and I don't have enough. See, you don't have any rights. You don't have a right to stand on.
Well, that's just a waste of a right for you. If you're the guy that didn't have that many rights, but then you also picked up the right to give you more rights than everybody else.
Correct, which I have. I do have that right.
You have all these empty slots, empty right slots that you can't fill. And, like, so what you need to do...
It's the Magic the Gathering of rights.
You need to find another guy that has a shitload of extra rights that will trade you some of those rights for that right to have extra rights. And then you'll kind of balance out.
Well, I do. I do have an N-word pass. You wouldn't believe what I had to give up for that, though.
You mean the T phrase? You can say the T phrase?
I didn't get that one. That
actually,
one,
you just
I have to borrow that one. See, yeah, exactly. I can't use the T phrase. That's not cool. But I am allowed to say the N-word.
Wow. Not the N-word, but the phrase the N-word.
I get that one. I can say that. I exclusively. Very few people of us have that right.
N-word.
One of them is Bruce Willis.
Yeah. I don't believe in that. I don't think white people should be able to say the phrase the N-word. And that's why I refer to that phrase as the T phrase. Because, I mean, come on, man.
Well, you need to gather up some rights. You need to build some rights so you can, like, earn a right or something. You can't have any rights if you don't at least, like, buy some. You're gonna have to get, like, a starter pack.
So I think what we're gonna do is, like,
it's like 28 amendments. I think you get 4 in a pack.
We're gonna take the board game Risk, but instead of geographical territory, it's gonna be social territory. Right? So instead of like a map of the Earth, like a globe and all the countries, it's going to be a social map of all the mores.
Oh, you mean like a dictionary?
And we get to roll dice and like place, you know, we have cubes, just like in Risk, rights cubes, and we get to occupy social mores and influence the course of dude,
like Instagram influencers and Bitcoin millionaires.
Yeah, kind of like what they're doing, except for in your basement, and it doesn't matter, and you're basically just accelerating the time until you die.
No fun guaranteed.
But other than that, it's exactly the same.
It's basically Dungeons and Dragons that you described. So I think that game's actually already been made.
I have about a 0 to 700 ratio of playing Dungeons and Dragons games that I've been invited to. I've never actually played one.
It's a good KD on nerd invites.
Yeah,
you've never even like sat at a table and set up a character.
No, I have.
Wow.
I have zero orientation on what.
That is.
what that is.
Puritanical, man. That's
I know,
that's
I
hard
know
to
they
pull
call it
off.
D&D.
It's
I
hard
know
to
that.
pull off. Everybody gets roped into it at some point. Well, they always try to rope you in onto it. It's like poker. Do you play card games? Do you play poker? See, poker is Dungeons and Dragons with money. That's basically all it is. It's all a bunch of bluffing and bullshitting other people. Dungeons and Dragons is poker set in the Legend of Zelda universe.
Yeah, but isn't there a lot of fluff to it? Like,
It's all fluff. That's the entire
we've gotten
thing.
the golden funnel that won't melt when we stick it up the dragon's asshole, so we can proceed into his small intestine where the treasure is held.
Gary Gallagher basically sold a box filled with imagination. That's what he sold. He became a millionaire telling kids, here, come up with your own shit. See? I earned that cuss. That felt good.
That's actually a brilliant idea. It's like, hey, as the creative
I should just ship out empty boxes. I could make a fortune.
Yeah. Well, my strategy as the creative director for this is to make all of the consumers come up with all the creative decisions.
Yeah, they
that's
never
brilliant.
have anyone to blame.
Just design a framework that all of the users / players, they do all the work. But you just give them a fucking scaffolding to do it on.
Have you ever gotten roped into some board games? Or board games that consist entirely of cards? Like board games.
No, and I've never, none of that fucking murder mystery shit or card games or board game. I mean, like, not since I was like a fucking kid and sometimes our family would play shit. But, I mean, I don't know, like, I've played video games, so I think I can, all of the mechanics that come from card games and board games and shit have been translated into RPGs and stuff like that, you know?
And all board games are just based off of video games because nobody wants to buy them.
Well, that's why they're called video games, because when home video games first came out, they were basically just board games you could play on your TV. Like the Magnavox Odyssey, it wouldn't even keep score. You would have to put an overlay on your screen, and all the controllers did.
Right?
Yeah, and all the controllers did was move the dot around. You still had to keep score, just like a board game. You still had to keep track of how much money
Had like a little
everybody
abacus
had.
ring up at the top.
Right. So
fun
you were
interactive.
literally just using the TV as the game board. The same way that a game board doesn't remember anything. So the term video games kind of came from board games in the sense that the first video games were board games.
So you've
They
never
just called them video games because the board was on video.
You played role-playing video games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not huge into it, but, you know, I played, like, Final Fantasy VII like everybody did.
But
and
didn't you play, like, I don't know how to phrase it, because I'm not allowed to be funny tonight by my own decree. By the way, did you have any headlines for tonight?
If my phone turns back on.
Okay, we'll see. Yeah, so I've got nothing funny to say. But you've never gotten roped in. You played Magic the Gathering, didn't you?
I never played it with any other people other than, like, one person. And I played the kind of, like, stripped down online version a little bit. Like, I know how the game works.
But you did buy some cards.
Yeah, I have bought some Magic the Gathering cards.
But you never really you had like one guy to play the game with, and that's as far as it ever went.
Yeah, it was just my buddy. Like, we just played together. I never went
Was he one of the people that invited you to come and play Dungeons and Dragons?
He never did, but actually, that dude is a huge Warhammer 40K player.
Oh man.
So he's pretty serious. So I think, like, if it wasn't for him, I might not have gotten into the into the undertow of that world.
I can't believe I ever criticized Bitcoin when something like Games Workshop exists. And the thousands of dollars that people invest into plastic action figures. They're not even action figures, they don't move. It's what they
His whole thing is he likes painting them.
Represents.
He'll
never be a good Warhammer 40k video game, because if you can play a $12,000 figurine at home, and then somebody might end up saying, "Well, fuck it, I'll just steal. I'll just stick with the Xbox."
Apparently, they do have a game. This guy on
They've
PlayStation.
got a few. They're all presumably not good.
I don't know. If I knew how not good any of them were, I wouldn't bring it up, because you're not supposed to be funny, and that would be really hard to not be funny about that. So, out of respect for you, I'm not going to bring any of that up.
We're going to see if we can get some of the headlines and not be funny about them. Oh, man! Which brings me to my favorite part of the show. It's them shout-outs, yo. Let me just bring up the board and play the shout-out music. This week's shout-out music is this one. Every week, Time for the Show is brought to you by our humble Patreon supporters, including Triology Soaps, handmade soaps for the fiercest, most grimy, disgusting Yetis. Get clean for the first time in your life with Triology Soaps, available now at packslack.com. Also, shout-outs to Trenchy, Subject T Change, Scalpod, Robert South, Count Sloth, Reverend Loch Ness, Negative at Night, Michael Marcus, Long Dead, Agent Lloyd, Dr. Cosmac, Hazel of the Windmills, Posse X Fenord, Caller 23, and Reverend 80. Thanks to everybody that pitches in. There's your weekly shout out. You can support independent farce as well. They go into patreon.com/hypercube. It's time for the show. And we're
come
back.
on. Alright, boy, it's time for the show. Stop. What's up, everybody? Why are you being like that? It's time for the show. Stop being like that, everybody.
You got a couple?
Yeah, we're good.
Alright, so it's time for my favorite part of the show. This is the Proving Grounds. We're going to go through this week's selection of headlines. And, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to try to be funny. How's that? Aster 6 on the sticks.
Okie dokie. We got mysterious gingerbread monolith in San Francisco.
What about it?
It is.
Well, that's what our job is. We have to come up with something about it.
It mysteriously appears.
That's right. This is a bit. Did you know we do bits on the show now?
Yeah, I thought you did, except for the last 30 minutes where we didn't go to either one of our favorite parts of the show.
That was the bit.
Oh, okay, I get it. That's funny.
So yeah, Aster 6 will read us a headline, and then we are going to try and come up with our quickest comments. And that's the strategy of this bit. Before we get to your apologies, so you can apologize for not getting this later. All right, so Aster 6, one more time. The first headline, please.
Mysterious gingerbread tower appears in what was it? I don't know. It's California.
San Francisco?
Something like yeah, San Francisco.
Mysterious gingerbread monolith appears in San Francisco.
Republicans everywhere respond with "Let's go Hansel."
Immediately dismantled by the Gluten Liberation Front.
Also in San Francisco, we have a Nordstrom. Nordstrom is robbed by 80 thieves.
Nordstrom robbed by 80 thieves.
Finally, answering the question, how many Polacks does it take to
loot a department store?
to steal a pile of Alright, sorry. I made myself laugh when I said Polacks. I hadn't heard myself say that in a while. That was funny.
Alright. Next.
I had myself at Polacks.
What else you got?
Giant pickle ornament returns to Pittsburgh.
There
Needed a smellier place to ferment. Used to cover smell of Pittsburgh. Anything for you, Fid?
I was going to make a Liberty Bell joke about somebody claiming to be Revolution Rick, but I'm not going to go there.
All right, next headline.
Emu at large in Colorado.
Say again?
An emu is at large in Colorado.
I thought you said evil.
No, well, it is evil.
But it's an emu.
An emu.
An emu is loose in Colorado.
These setups should be 2 lines. We get that, and give me like something else.
What, you want like the first line of the article?
I want to know how the Olsen twins are involved in this.
Well, I don't know about the Olsen twins, but the sheriff is trying to figure out who owns it.
So, mystery emu?
It's a mystery emu, yes.
Mystery emu causing a muck in Colorado.
Causing a ruckus.
Comedy Central PR team loses WAMU contract. They use an emu.
All right, well, Colorado wasn't very funny. Let's go back to California, where a armored truck has blown money all over the freeway in San Diego.
Armored truck has blown money all over the freeway in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now, Mexicans aren't stealing toilet paper from their construction sites for the next week.
Woo! And that's proving grounds, which brings us to my favorite part of the show. It's Pease's apologies, where Pease apologizes for everything that he's kind of ruined for us tonight. But Pease isn't here, so I guess we're gonna have to give it to Mr. Chuli. So take it away, Fid.
Oh, hey. My name's Pease, and this is the way I sound when I talk. Out of my mouth, and you hear it in your ears. Just like this. I'm sorry I couldn't be here tonight. I stubbed my toe, and I had to have carrots give me a toe sucking to make myself feel better. And sometimes that's what I have to do, because here in Nevada we have Obamacare, which provides for that. I'm sorry Dr. Fox didn't have any rounds in the chamber when it came to the Is It a Band segment. My favorite part of the show, mostly because I lose every week and it reminds me to be humble. Excuse me, humble. I thought it's rude to pronounce the H. I also apologize for Fid Chuli filling in for me. Completely uninformed of the show. He was not presented in outline. Didn't know what to do. Dropped the ball at many moments. I apologize on his behalf. Oh wait, can Pease also apologize for Papa John saying the T phrase? Can he?
Let's save that for after Thanksgiving, because that's a juicy one.
All right. Yeah, he'll probably say it. He'll probably say it again between now and Thanksgiving.
And that means we have come to the end of the show. You have been listening to Time for the Show, a production of Hypercube Laboratories. Find out more about Hypercube and Don't Think by going to hypercubego.com. It's easy-tastic. You can subscribe to Time for the Show by listening to freethinkradio.com. You can just bookmark it right now. Thanks to Dr. Ellis and Mark Arthur for continuing to host us after 4 years of whatever it is the heck that we're doing here. And, of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, click the subscribe button. There's a bell. It does something, I guess. I don't know. I'm not going to click it. My name is Dr. Fox. You can find out more about me by following me on that Twitter, at DocFox. And thanks to Fid Chuli filling in for Peas tonight. We'll see you next week on Time for the Show.
Don't do any drugs I wouldn't do, kids.